Welcome back to Anime Fight Club, everyone. My name is Grim. Today we're entering volume 14 of Baki Dou Part 1, or Musashi Dou. And we had a nice image, a nice cover image of Baki in some type of athletic gear, practicing some strikes, which is nice to see him in a different outfit. We also see Musashi's gi is actually blue, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that it was blue. It looks black, obviously in black and white. I can't stand when we get these naked pictures of Baki. I always feel like I'm gonna get in trouble by YouTube. But anyway, we're going to check out chapters 117 through 119 today. We're going to continue the fight between Musashi versus Pickle. Now in the last video, Pickle was sitting along the barricade waiting for Musashi to enter, just foaming at the mouth, just drooling, starving. He's hungry. The second Musashi walked into this arena, Pickle launched at him. So now we're about to see, well, chapter 117 is entitled Sinews, and we're about to see the continuation of that. So far, I'm assuming Musashi has seen Pickle launch toward him, either seen it or felt it. I don't know if you could see Pickle move that fast or not, but the way they're setting these images up, this is supposed to happen extremely quickly. So Musashi's standing here, he reaches over, grabs the base of his sword. You see his legs have started to move, so he's switched positions. He reaches down, grabs his sword. Look at his hands. Look at his posture. So this is gonna allow him to keep the scabbard, I guess, in place as he releases the katana from the base. So oh my goodness, he takes this thing out, takes position so quickly. He's had to do this hundreds of thousands of times, millions probably, to be able to move this quickly. The muscle memory. So he reaches down, pulls his sword out, swings it, plants this sword. He ends up in the perfect striking position, as he should be. Plants this sword dead center in Pickle's face. Pickle's eyes have glared over. He has Yozaru going, but this sword is going straight down the middle of his face. It's went in between teeth, everything. Tokugawa, Baki, Doppo, and Kaku are looking onward. Looks like Doppo's closed his eyes. He didn't even want to see it. So Pickle's mid-flight right now. Well, what? No way. He stopped the blade. Amazing power. Musashi says, eh? So, by the look on his face, he had every intention to cut Pickle in half. But it doesn't look like he was able to do so. For the first time in history, Musashi's blade, look at this image, dead center, in between his teeth, nose, everything, all the way down, dead center, has finally been stopped. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look how large Pickle is. Surrounding his whole body, surrounding Musashi just because of the size. With the fury burning within his eyes. Look at Pickle in this position, missing fang. All you see is muscle engulfing this blade. And that exceptional primeval body. Pickle finally could stop Musashi's blade. So I have to assume Pickle didn't do this on purpose. But Musashi's blade is unable to not only penetrate his skin, but his muscle or anything else. Everyone's shocked. Goodness. Baki, Doppo, Tokugawa, the Kureha brothers, or Kureha and Shogi. I forgot what you guys told me their names were. Shibukawa, Jack, Kaku, Gyako, and you guys also told me his name. This was the guy that initially fought Musashi when Musashi first showed up. They didn't really get to do anything. Musashi just sliced them up with those imaginary strikes. So here we have Musashi still holding his blade, serious grip, and he's shocked. Oh, a body worthy of the highest praise. I'm sure he's never come across somebody he couldn't cut, or even something for that matter. So having stopped that blade, Pickle, wow, the blade is still embedded in Pickle. You can see it in his face. Pickle swings and cracks Musashi in the left side of his face with a right punch. blade still embedded in his face, sends Musashi flying and into the side of that barricade. I am so glad Pickle didn't get cut, and I'm so glad he sent Musashi flying. He definitely needed to feel something from Pickle. This made me happy. So everyone's looking onward. Musashi's lights appear to be out after he smacks his barricade and hits the ground. No, no, no. This can't be the end of the fight. Everyone's sweating as they look on with these other martial arts masters. And Pickle appears to be looking down at Musashi, still with this blade in his face. Indeed, Pickle hasn't even stopped. Like, he didn't even acknowledge this. This thing is literally stuck in his face. Musashi is no longer holding it, but it's still hanging. Pickle appears to relax his face somehow, or maybe he realizes that something's stuck in it, and his consciousness seems to come back as this blade loosens from his skin and starts to fall. It's covered in blood, so Musashi was actually able to cut some of Pickle's skin. Yeah, the blade falls and Pickle's skin ruptures. Blood starts to fly out in this beautifully perfect vertical slice. Musashi appears to, oh no, this is Pickle's hand. Oh my goodness. So Tokugawa, Baki, and Doppo, as well as Musashi, watch Pickle reach out and pick up this sword. He's a demon. Chapter 118, Joints. Pickle's got the sword. Is he going to swing the sword with that unearthly strength of his? What kind of tool is this? Look at Pickle. He's not even hurt. He's just scratched. He's looking at it, trying to figure it out. He pokes it, then he touches it with his finger and notices that it cut him. So, not paying attention to his face or the rest of his torso that's allowing blood to rush down the rest of his body, he decides to stick his finger on there in order to understand what this tool is. So now that he sees that this is something meant for cutting, looks as though he looks back at Musashi. First of all, look at this image of Pickle, the backside of Pickle. He doesn't even have a neck. All of this is just muscle. This looks like a mountaintop. Get out of here. Pickle is huge. So Pickle, oh yeah, and even so, okay, remember guys, Pickle picked up every technique that was thrown at him, everyone. It doesn't matter who did it, Retsu, Katsumi, well, he didn't use that mock punch, but either way, he picked up a technique from everyone, Baki, Jack, everyone. So he just saw Musashi swing this sword, and now it's in his hands. So Pickle, if he's able to copy Musashi's technique, could you imagine? With this strength? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we go to the next image. Pickle was holding that sword in his hand. He swung the sword. I wonder if he swung it or if he threw it. Either way, he exerted that unnatural, unearthly force of his. Swings this sword. Baki says, "Where's the sword? I can't see it." Pickle embedded it into the ground. Like, he sliced the earth with it. He stabbed the ground. No, he cut it. Oh my goodness. So just like I said, he was going to use the technique that he just saw. So Pickle, I thought he was about to embed it in the ground so that Musashi couldn't get to it. He just wanted to give it a shot. So he swung this sword something nasty, embedded it in the earth, cut the earth, withdraws it from the ground. He did it. He just cut the ground with the sword to the right angle. What incredible strength. And something catches Pickle's attention. Musashi's back on his feet. He stood up. When did that happen? So now Musashi and Pickle are face to face again. A body that can stop a blade in full swing. This is the first time in my life that I've seen such a thing. My sword that is capable of cutting reinforced steel helmet in two has been stopped by his bones and sandwiched between his sinews. I see, I'm gonna have to look up what sinews are. If you guys know off the top of your head, or if you're willing to do the research, please leave a comment below. So bodies like that truly exist. Stealing my sword after I landed my attack with just an unbelievable impact. with a single hit leaving your opponent lying on the ground, beaten and unconscious and unable to move. Indeed, my friends, Pickle has become a true swordsman. Wow. To hear that from the true swordsman. Like, Pickle is a genius. Not only is his body the pinnacle of strength, but he's a literal genius. He picks up these techniques with no problem. So Musashi says how boring that is after calling Pickle a true swordsman. So Pickle lifts his arm back up, preparing to swing this sword again as Musashi starts taking steps toward him. The pressure has disappeared. So Musashi says it's boring because Pickle's pressure has disappeared. If I had to assume why, maybe because he's not in his primal state anymore. He's trying to use this tool. I don't know. Let's see. In one occasion, there was an author who had a meeting with a famous karate fighter to collect some information and details. But what? He heard something that he was unable to process. Did you know that there's nothing dangerous about an opponent who brings a sharp weapon with them? No way. Really? That's because that weapon is his only weapon. No, that's not true, is it? That's what makes him intimidating, isn't it? He was so impressed that he's still at a loss for words. So, Pickle went to swing that sword at Musashi. Musashi walked up at Pickle extremely calmly, and it looks like he threw some type of chop at Pickle. Did he slash out his eye? It looks like Pickle missed that swing, and this sword is back in the earth. It's back in the earth because Pickle's arms are so long. His swing, like, scrapes the ground. So yeah, Musashi used his invisible sword technique, or his handed sword technique, whatever you want to call it, and cuts Pickle's eye. Baki and the Kureha brothers watch on. Musashi reaches down to grab this sword, yanks it out of the ground. Even though his body is magnificent, Pickle starts to cry, or his eyes start to water up. He opens that eye back up, cut and bruised and everything. Opens it back up, launches himself back at Musashi. I just have to cut him in a few places and he will be done for. These places would be great. If he managed to cut his knees off, there's no more standing. If he manages to cut his elbows off, there's no more strikes. His shoulders, his arms are gone. I will take all his joints. So it looks like Musashi already threw those strikes, cutting Pickle in all of those places. Chapter 119 here. Goodness, yes, Musashi is insane, but Pickle is otherworldly. So Musashi was not just thinking of those strikes. He actually landed each of them on Pickle. All of his joints. He got both shoulders, both elbows, both knees. Goodness. What's wild though is Pickle's just looking at himself like, huh? There's blood coming from here. But this also attests to their first fight, when Musashi was thinking, if I had a real sword and I was actually able to cut him, would he still have the energy to have thrusted me into that ceiling? Because he's bleeding so much. So there is a chance that Pickle could bleed out before he gets his hands on Musashi. That is what he was aiming for. Yes, his joints, his shoulders and elbows, his knees too. He severed them all. Slicing the opponent's finger or foot is of no concern anymore in modern kendo, because those cuts can never be performed with a bamboo sword. This is a technique that can only be done with a real sword. This is the real fencing right here. This is the stuff, the true fighting against a sword. This is not something that we, the karatekas, will do. When we are facing swordsmen in a fighting against weapons match, we may be able to stop the sword, but the counterattack, payoff, and reward are hardly worth the trouble. What Miyamoto uses is quicker and dirtier, and can only be used when you have absolutely nothing protecting you. This is the stuff that you need to learn to fight against weapons. This is the real fencing right here. Wow. Musashi takes his sword and looks at it. He says, I don't understand. the joints that have been cut off are supposed to fall one after another, but instead the attack only gave him a few shallow wounds at best. Yeah, man, this is Pickle. You just tried to cut him with your full force and his full force coming at you. If that didn't work, you couldn't have thought like these other slashes were going to work, right? So Pickle is in fact raining blood at this point. He's starting to walk forward, but blood is just coming out of him left and right. The blood loss won't stop anytime soon. Eventually he will lose consciousness and this old Musashi will win the fight. That end is too plain for such an amazing warrior. There's no doubt about it. Whether I do it left and right, or top and bottom, or front and back, I will have to go with sliced in two as my finishing touch after all. Oh my goodness, I hope he fails. I cannot express how much I hope he fails. So Pickle's still standing here looking at him with just these paper cuts. It's weird of me to say this, but it's a good thing he finally realizes he's fighting against a body more dangerous than a dinosaur. Ah, I found it. The core of that magnificent steel body. It was hidden and it's as soft as tofu. Musashi changes his positioning. His hands start to go up Yujiro style. He still has one sword in hand. He says, "Come and eat, Pickle. Devour this old Musashi to your heart's content." Pickle looks at him, bruised eye, cuts everywhere. Raining blood still. "We don't have much time left. Hurry." So Musashi's telling Pickle that they don't have much time left because Pickle's bleeding out. The very moment his body exerts the maximum output, that's when it will happen. But this should have happened the first time, right? That unbreakable steel body will turn into soft and fragile tofu. Wow. So he wanted to wait until Pickle got close enough and relaxed when he got ready to eat. So once Pickle went to take a bite into Musashi, I'm assuming the rest of his body relaxed. Musashi says, "Right here." Swish. And that's the end of today's video. You talk about a cliffhanger. Oh my goodness. Leave a comment below what you guys think about this. Theorize. If you know the answer, do not spoil it. Is Pickle okay? I love Pickle so much. Leave a comment below, hit the thumbs up, share with your fellow otaku. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you have, thank you very much. There are playlists in the description that would allow you to catch up to any point in the Baki manga, as well as King and Ashura. I hope you guys will hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads. Please subscribe to my other channel, Grim Games. The link will be in the description. Hope to see you guys over there. Hope to see you next video. And as always, otaku.